Hello, this is Everard Junction. It's been quite a while since I've done a video. Sorry about that. Basically, the only reason I haven't done a video is because I've been busy working on various projects with the railway, and every time I thought I should do a video, I kind of put it to one side and just sort of eventually forgot about it. So I finally got around to doing another video, and there's been a reasonable bit of progress on the railway and with other projects, which I'll go on to in a minute. So the first big difference that most of you have probably already noticed is the station. This isn't finished at all, but it'll do for now. It's a much better looking thing than what I had before. Now I've gone around the edge of it with the Slater's plasticard and just faded it all in. It'll be weathered properly as well. Put a corrugated steel roof on it and generally made it nice and network southeast kind of like. So we've got the stairs down here, the little sign. These bits here, these like long tunnel things, they're going to be lifts, so there'll be a couple of lift doors at the bottom to allow disabled people to actually get on the station, because at the moment there is no disabled access at all. What else have I done? Oh yes, over here I've put a cable troughing in, which you can probably just about make out, and I've ballasted that area as well, so it's all nicely sort of plumbed in and looking a bit more tidy. I was quite impressed when I did this because it was a really quick job and it made a huge difference to how everything looked, because suddenly there's no bare baseboard there. So that's come out pretty good. Another thing I've done is over here, you remember I had all the sockets and stuff? I've moved that to the other side just so it's out of the way, and that will allow for the dual carriageway, which is going to go across here to be put in place. I have started on it. It's over here at the moment, down here with this pile of mess. There you go, it's a basic dual carriageway. I'm just experimenting with different colours at the moment, but all it is just a plinth of wood with a central reservation on it at the moment. But once that is up there and all carded up and painted, that'll look quite good. At least I'm hoping it'll look quite good anyway. So that'll be done in a few weeks' time. I'll also get on to finishing this bit of road off. I'll film doing this whole part because I know quite a lot of you intrigued onto how I do the polyfiller. It's quite easy to sort of work out yourself, but I'll show you a video anyway just to give you an idea of how I do it, because there are various methods and little tricks you pick up along the way. Something else, and we'll move on to the other projects now, is the engine that's currently running around. This, although it doesn't look like one, is a Class 50 by Hornby. I currently have two of these at the moment. I used to have one. You saw it quite a lot going around the layout. But I was never overall overly impressed with the paint job on the Class 50. The engine itself is brilliant, it runs really nicely as you can see, but the paint job's a bit of hit and miss, especially with the Network Southeast colours, particularly the blue. The blue is too dark and the grey at the bottom is too light. It doesn't match the coaches particularly well, it looks a bit silly, and I always wanted to repaint it. So what I've actually done is I've bought an airbrush and a compressor and a load of paint, and I'm currently weathering and painting stock and trains and various bits and pieces. I'm still learning how to do it at the moment, but I've been quite impressed with the results I've achieved so far, and I'll go downstairs now to the painting department and I'll show you what I've been up to. Right, we're out here with all the painting gets done. Always do it away from the layout, so you don't get any nasty overspray or anything on anything, and it's good to do it in some daylight where you can actually see what you're doing, because the lighting in the loft is not terribly good. So the tools that I'm now currently using are this little compressor. This is a little low noise compressor. It's about the cheapest I could find. It's pretty good actually. I'm very pleased with it considering how much I paid for it. It was in a sale, so I paid about £40 for it. So it's pretty good. It's nice and quiet as well, so you just turn it on over there. Nice and quiet. Got a nice little flexible hose. Where's the end of it? There's the end of it. Nice little flexible hose. You put your finger over the end and you can get a nice bit of pressure out of it. Except my finger isn't terribly good at holding the pressure back. So yeah, that's the compressor. I've also got the actual airbrush that goes on the end of it. This is what's it called? It's made by Iwata, and it's an HPCS I think, and this is quite expensive, this particular one. But from what I've read, the general rule of thumb with airbrushing is to just buy the best that you can afford, and you'll get the best results first time, rather than buying something cheap and then deciding you want to upgrade later, so you'll end up actually spending even more money. So I bought this one. I'm very pleased with it, considering I know practically nothing about airbrushing, and as long as you keep it nice and clean, it'll give you years of service. So that's the airbrush, and I use various enamel paints, acrylic paints and other bits and pieces. At the moment I've got a lot of rail match paint. Some of you may be familiar with this. This is good stuff. This is a pot of matte varnish. This is very, very good varnish. Not shiny at all once you've sprayed it on, unlike some other varnishes. I've got some others like Engineer's Warning Yellow, so the yellow that goes at the front of the engine. Sleeper Grime. This is one of the most well-known colours. This is a good weathering colour for track work, trains, wheels, anything you can think of. It's a really nice sort of grey with a hint of brown, kind of earthy colour. That's good. I've also got Roof Dirt. That's another good colour to add to the roofs of locos and down the sides and around the bogies. And I've got various other colours as well. Right, when I first got the airbrush, I wanted to practice on something, and I wanted to do quite a big project so that I got a good practice session in with the airbrush and got to know all the aspects of it, weathering, varnishing, applying different colours over other colours and all kinds of other bits and pieces. And some of you may remember on the old town scene I used to have a Class 20, and it was in British Rail Green. You may have spotted it a few times. If I can find a picture of it, I'll post it at the end of the video and show you what it used to look like. But basically I've completely resprayed it and renumbered it to number 2029, and it's a completely different colour to what it was. It's now British Rail Blue, and it is now the right period for my layout, so it will now begin to run around the layout. Another added bonus was this loco is DCC ready, which I didn't think it was because it doesn't say anywhere on the box anything about being DCC ready, but there is a socket inside it, so it's ready to go. I will be getting another 20 probably this week to pair with it. That'll be the Bachmann Rail Freight red stripe one that some of you either have or may have seen, and that'll go in front of it, and they'll run as a pair around the layout like 20s did back in the 1980s. As you can see, I've also weathered it. It's a combination of using the airbrush with the Roof Dirt and the Sleeper Grime, and also some chalk weathering powders, which you've seen me use in my previous weathering video where I showed you how to improve some old mineral wagons. So you can see I've got the exhaust grime on the roof there. The general roof is a bit more grimy and grubby than the rest of the engine, and then all the vents have been painted up, particularly this big radiator grille here, and along the side where the engineers and drivers would walk along, that's all been made nice and filthy because it's a good place where dirt would collect. So there's the Class 20 for you. Now I've also started respraying my two Class 50s now that I've had a little bit of practice in. The 20 went particularly well, so I think I must be doing something right. So I got the first of my Class 50s out. Both of them, you never actually saw them, but both of them were exactly the same. They were both number 50s045, called Achilles, and they were both in the revised Network Southeast livery, so straight away the two of them together look stupid. You needed to at least renumber one of them and give it a different name. Now this is the standard Hornby paint job. I've not done anything to it. This is just off the loco. This is the next one that needs painting because I've already started on the first one. And I'll just run you through some of the problems. Now some of you may not really care, and that's fine, no worries, carry on playing trains. But once I knew there were various errors with the paint job on this model, it then bugged me because I knew about them, and every time I saw the loco I was like, oh yeah, that grey definitely is the wrong colour. So basically the blue is too dark, doesn't match the coaches properly. The grey is far too light, it's not even slightly the wrong colour, it is just completely the wrong colour. I don't know how that slipped through quality control, but they're all like that. So yeah, the grey's the wrong colour, the blue's the wrong colour, and the factory weathering, which is applied with a sort of yellowy sand coloured paint, looks particularly rubbish. And I've always wanted to respray the locos into different numbers and names, partly to get some more weathering practice and some respraying done, and also because of the errors that I was aware with this model. So down here we have the other Class 50, which I've been working on. You can see this looks a bit better. So you can see immediately the grey is a completely different shade. It's, like it's on another planet. And this is the correct shade of grey. The blue is pretty much right. It still doesn't quite match the coaches, but it's a particularly difficult colour I found to get right. But the colour here is a lot better than the colour here. You can see that that blue is a lot darker than that blue, and this loco's been weathered as well, so the blue's actually been darkened down. You can see I've done various weathering on the air vents. I've given it a new number 500023, This particular loco was called How, I think. I've got the plates upstairs to put on it and give it a name. More weathering over there. The roof has been faded and made to look a bit more real. If we look at the roof on the standard model, it's very, very shiny and black, and looks alright, but it is a bit shiny, so that was something else I addressed while I was repainting it. The only parts of the model that are original, are, you know, basically the same as they are on here, is the red stripe and the white between the red stripe. All the blue's been redone, all the grey's been redone, and this thicker white stripe along the top has been added because this particular Class 50, number 23, had a thicker stripe along the top. Others, such as this one, didn't. They had a much thinner stripe and they went all the way around. And that is correct. It just depends which particular model you want to renumber it to. Determines whether or not it has a thick stripe or a thin stripe. Now the chassis for this, as you've just seen, is running around the layout up in the loft. That's all bedding in because I ordered some new wheels for it. These particular versions of the Class 50 are one of the earliest models that Hornby made. They're still no different in terms of detail to one that you would buy today, but because they're so much older, they had traction tyres on them for reasons I don't understand, because all the wheels were driven. Traction tyres are a pet hate of mine. They tend to get the track a bit dirty. They make the loco a bit less performance because you've got one less wheel picking up electricity because it's got a bit of rubber all the way around it. So I bought a new set of bogies and wheel sets to get them running nice and well, and as you've seen, the one in the loft seems to be running pretty well. So there you go. Hope you like. This is just drying at the moment. It might have a little bit more weathering done, but not too much, because this is a passenger loco and they were generally kept relatively clean. They weren't gleaming and shiny, but they were kept a lot cleaner than, say, a freight loco. So there you go. Right, these are the old wheels from the Class 50s. You can see that on the right hand side there's a traction tyre, so this wheel was not overly good at picking up any electricity. I'm trying to remember which way round it was now. I think 2 wheels out of each bogie had a traction tyre on them, and they generally made the track a bit grubby and didn't perform as well as the rest of the engines. So the spare parts that you can buy for the 50s, they're all the newer style wheels, and they don't come with any traction tyres, which is a bonus. You can't just rip the traction tyre off either. There is a groove that's been milled into the wheel to allow the traction tyre to sit down properly. So if you were to take that traction tyre out, the engine would be lopsided and wouldn't run very well at all and damage your track. So I had to buy some new wheels, but the new engine seems to be running pretty well. It's nice and smooth. I'll just move it forward a bit. You can see I've also weathered the underframe on this. It's nice and grubby, but not massively grubby. It's just nice sort of grey browny colour that they generally picked up, much like underneath of the 31. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed the video. There will be another video on a lot quicker next time. It's just because I've been busy doing various bits of airbrushing. You'll also notice over time through updates that more and more of the engines in stock will get weathered. Not all of them will get weathered as heavily as, say, the 31, and not all of them will get weathered as lightly as the 50s or the Class 60, which is under the board over there. Some of the wagons will get pretty filthy, but generally passenger locos will be kept relatively clean. It's just a little bit of weathering to make them not look fresh out of the box. So hope you enjoyed the video. Before you ask, yes, I will do a video on airbrushing. I'm just practicing my technique at the moment and getting a little better at actually doing it myself. Once I'm confident with my methods and how I do the airbrushing, I will do a video on how I do it. So there you go. Another video should be along within a week, hopefully. I'll definitely try and get one up a bit more quickly. It'll probably be a video of trains running around the layout. I myself haven't played trains up here properly for ages and actually ran the trains around for a good length of time, and I haven't done a video on it either. The last trains running video had pretty outdated scenery. It's all changed quite a lot now, so that'll be the next one. So bye for now.